So let us have an hands-on how we can create your virtual machine using your user portal over your Azure. So this is our portal where I'm going to create our compute. So very first compute or the very first virtual machine we are going to create over here. So for creating a new virtual machine directly you have on left hand side a virtual machine, you can click on it, or you can again move into your new and you can again go for marketplace searching for the same and you can do it. Like here now you can see you can directly create your Windows virtual machine, your Windows data center, your Red Hat, Ubuntu server, whichever you want to create. Or directly you can move into your virtual machines and here you can add and create your virtual machine. So again, it will take you the same page where it will show you which are your operating systems are available with your compute service. So first you need to select the operating system you require, either Red Hat, Windows or any other. So let us start with our easiest one, that is our Windows virtual machine. So for Windows virtual machine, I'm going to select Windows Server 2016 data center, or we can also use our other. So I'm just going to use my Windows Server. Okay, into Windows Server it's showing me all the Windows Server which are available with me. So I'm just going to use my old one, that is my small test server, that is Windows Server R2. I'm just going to use this one. So it's showing me the deployment method as well as the complete detail about this particular server. So it's showing you this image comes with 30 GB of your OS disk, and your Windows Server 2008 R2 is a popular multi-purpose server operating system that organizes around the globe for us to run their mission critical workloads. And the image can be used with your Azure hybrid benefits for your Windows Server. So if you want to check for the benefits we have for this Windows Server, we can check with your hybrid. And again, we can see here you have documentation for using this Microsoft 2008 R2 as well. So if you want to upgrade this particular version to R2, you can. And also it is asking you whether you want to deploy this particular server into which particular portal. So we know we have two different portals. So one is your Azure RM, which we were using, and the classic one, which is the old one. So I'm going to do everything on new portal. So I'm going to use it on your resource manager and I'm going to create it. So while you're creating it, you can see a new Windows pop-ups where it is asking you the 4-step procedure to create a virtual machine. First is the basic settings, what you want into your system, then virtual machine size, optional features, and then your summary of your Windows server will be shown to you, and then you can create your virtual machine. Very first I'm going to define or provide the basic information of my computer. So very first I'm going to create my VM with name VM1, or we can say Windows, you can use hyphen 1. So I'm going to create my first Windows virtual machine here, and it's asking you for the type of disk. So these disk types are again described in brief into our future videos, but here I'm going to show you like the basic disk which I'm going to use, that is my HDD. So this is my basic disk which we have into our virtual machines. And if you are going to build your data centers, ensure that you are selecting SSD, because depending upon this you will be able to select the virtual machine size. So I'm going to create a small machine over here with the lower load it can consume. So I'm just going to create it with my HDD. Next, the username. What the username you want into your virtual machine apart from the administrator, so that you can log in. So I'm just going to use the username as test1, and it's asking you. So there is a specific length for my username. So username must meet the length requirement and must not include any reserved words or unsupported characters. So here I'm going to define the username as test user1. Okay, so test user1, and the password I'm going to define the same test, or we can define any password here. Okay, so it requires a bigger password. It should be complex. Subscription is our free trial. We don't have any other subscription as of now. So we are going to select free trial. Resource group, already we know we have created a lot of resource groups and I've deleted two of it. I'm going to use my existing resource group which I have right now, that is my R1. So I have deleted R2 and R3. Just we have R1, RG1, sorry. So I'll be using RG1 as my existing resource group. So my virtual machine will also be created in this group itself. And the location, by default location of my RG1 is Central India. So it will be created in Central India itself. Click OK. So we have completed with your basic. If you have anything remaining or anything wrong into it, you won't be able to move into next step. So now we are going to select the size of the virtual machine. So this is why it is important, while you're selecting your disk, that whenever you're selecting the disk, depending upon the disk size, you will be getting the virtual machines. Now, if you're using HDD, all the virtual machines which actually supports your HDD will be available over here. So as of now, we are able to see one. If you want to see all, we can go for view all. So here are the virtual machines which you have, which supports your HDD. Each of the machine sizes has different configurations. Like you can see here, you have one CPU and 2 GB RAM into this machine, 2 data disk you have, and it also supports your load balancing. If you go over here, you have 2 virtual processors and 4 GB RAM, means double of it, right? Same way, double of it. Say 4 virtual machines processors as well as 8 GB RAM you have over here. Same way here you can see A8, 8 Pro CPUs and 16 GB RAM. 2 CPUs, this is standard one, 2 CPUs and 16 GB RAM. So there will be difference in the configurations. So depending upon which configuration you require as of now, as per the requirement of your organizations, you can select it and you can find the per month charges for your machines which you are using. So right now I will be using the lowest one, that is A0 standard, which contain one CPU and nearly 1 GB of RAM with one data disk, right? And even it supports your load balancing. Just for your information, I'm just going to show you about your SSD. This is a solid state disk. Right now you can see it is showing you not available because you have selected HDD into your system, right? So I'll just show you the configuration here. Just have a look on it. So if you talk about your SSD, you can see here it is containing one CPU, 3.5 GB of RAM, and a load balancing feature is available. Same way for CPU, 14 GB RAM, and the IOPS is more than your standard one. So you have all the particular processors, and if you check for both the machine sizes, you can find the data center machines over here, which contains a huge amount of your processing speed, as well as even 56 GB of your disk, 22 GB of your disk, 112 GB of your disk, which is much more for managing your data centers. So right now I have selected HDD, so I'll just use HDD and I'll move into my system, and I'm going to select the lowest one. As I said, the basic one I'm going to use, that is A0 basic. Okay, so for this I need to pay 885 rupees per month till I'm using this disk or using this particular machine. Select it. We are moved to your third step, where we are going to set our configuration. So it's showing you the high availability. So this high availability I'm going to discuss later into brief, but as of now you should know about this high availability is that it is a kind of group where generally you will contain more than 2 systems at a time in a high availability set, so that whatever the systems you are going to create, whatever servers you are going to create, they will be having backup into their availability set itself. So it is a group you are going to create. So right now I'll be creating one group for us, availability group 1. of 1, or we can define it as a short form AG1. Okay, and it is showing you fault domains. So how many fault domains generally you can support? That is 2. So here you can see the information. The virtual machine in the same fault domain shares a common power source and a physical network switch. If you want to update your domain, so you can update the domain to 6, 7, 8, whatever you require, which will again provide the same update domain will be restarted together once it is planned and maintenance. So how many domain you want to restart together, so update to update the domain, so you can define as well as you require. Which kind of disk do you require? That we will be able to select only if you have added storage disk to it. So as of now we don't have to do anything. I'm just going to click on OK, and we have set our availability set. We have created a new availability set with name AG1. The storage disk I don't have to create, as I have already created during showing you the partial CLI. So I've just clicked yes. So one storage I have, so it's by default enabled. And if you don't want this managed disk to be created, you can click no and you can move ahead. But right now we require it, so I'm going to click yes. And next is your virtual network. So we have already created virtual network 1, 2, 3, but I have deleted both of it, so I'm just finding VNet 1 as of now. So I'm going to select the default one, or if you want to create it from here itself, you also have the option to create a new VNet, but I'm going to use the existing one as of now. Same way into VNet 1, you had a subnet, so only one subnet. We haven't added a new subnet to it, so it's showing you the default subnet is 1. If you have multiple subnet, it will show you the number of subnets you have. You can select in which subnet you want to connect your system. Next we have that is your public IP address. So this public IP is again very important for your systems to connect, because as we know, what are the systems, what are the virtual machines we are going to create over here will be accessible over the internet. So if you are using this virtual machine over the internet, obviously you will require to set a public IP address. So here by default your systems create a public IP address here. So which is the name you have, that is Windows VM1 IP. Okay. So this is a name, and it's automatically it will get an IP address. No need to assign the IP by your own. So as it is a public IP, it will be dynamically getting an IP address from your Azure. Next is your firewall. So if you're creating virtual machines, obviously you'll be requiring a network firewall, and here it is a firewall which by default get enabled while you are creating a network. So this particular firewall, when you create, that time it is showing you the rules of this particular firewall. So here you can see the default rule of RDP is allowed. Now what is this? This is nothing but showing you that this machine will be accessible over the RDP. So the RDP is allowed over here. You can't do anything else, but you will be able to connect these machines via your RDP. As it is my Windows machine, I'm getting the RDP. If you are using your Linux machine, by default you will be getting the allowed permission for SSH, because the base concepts of both the machines is like everything is going to be created in the cloud. You are going to manage these virtual machines remotely. So we know into your Windows we generally have remote desktop to get access to the remote machines, so that is the RDP protocol. Same way we also have SSH into our Linux operating system to connect our remote machines. So here I'll be taking my RDP, which is the allowed rule. As of now I'm going to modify anything over here. I'm just going to click OK. So this is a rule which will be created. Next is extensions. If you want to extend something here you can, but as of now I'm not going to do anything. Do you enable your auto shutdown? So right now it is off. I don't want my system should shut down automatically. I'll shut down when it's required. Monitoring is by default enabled, and guest diagnostics is by default disabled. So no one will be able to get or diagnose your guest which you have. So you can also find you can use them to, if you want to create any alerts, like if anyone is getting logged in through your guest account and all. Right now I will be using this, so I don't want that security. And the storage account is by default, you need to set which storage you'll be using. So right now we have already created one storage, so I'll be using the same. I'm not going to create a separate storage for keeping my virtual machines here. Once you have done, click on OK. And here you can find it showing you validation pass. You can create this virtual machine, and to access to this virtual machine, or using this virtual machine, you will be charged this much INR per hour, right? There's a A0 pricing. For your other virtual machine sizes also we can use, because this is the INR which we are charged, because we are also using the storage, we are also using your network security group over here, so including everything will be checked. So you may use the Azure monetary commitment funds or subscription credit for this purchase. Your prices presented are retail price and may not reflect discount associated with your subscription. So here we are going to create this particular account, and we are going to give permission for your Microsoft to use this particular product. I'm going to create. And one more thing you can notice here, you're getting download templates and parameters. Now while creating this virtual machine, we had some settings, right? Sorry, I have clicked over here. So sorry, we need to again move here, and I need to select all the things because I changed it by mistake. I'll select quickly, we'll do everything. Ability set I have created. AG1, sorry, AG1. Okay, I'll select everything is default, and this one. Okay, so we have done with it. So I was talking about this. This is a download template. We can download each and everything, whatever the settings we had, so that next time if I want to create the same virtual machine, I can use the template for it. So if you want to create a template, you can. I don't want to. I'm going to create it directly. So it is creating my virtual machine now. So it is deploying your machine here. So it will be created into your RG1, which we have created. And also you will find this particular option into your virtual machines that is getting created. So you can see it is getting created. This is the status of your virtual machine, and it is created into your resource group RG1. Location is Central India, and it is free trial. And while creating your virtual machine, also check for the charges, because all the location has different charges. So if you are creating in Central India, the charges will be different. If you are creating in somewhere else, the charges may reflect. So depending upon the region, you are charged. So let us move to your dashboard, and once this is created, we will see how we can connect this virtual machine. So here you can find our Windows VM1 is ready. Just open it. Now I want to connect this Windows VM1, right? So very first you should know is your public IP address. So just copy this public IP address here. Okay, and now here you can see it is running, and now this is the status of your virtual machine that is running. Free trial, computer name is Windows VM1, operating system is Windows, and the size of your virtual machine is standard A0, right? And also it's showing you the subnet is connected, DNS name, right? And this is your metric of the performance of your virtual machines, how much CPU it is using, what is the consumptions of your network, your disk, and the operation per second, right? So this is completely about your virtual machine. Now what if I want to connect this virtual machine? You have an option connect. Just click over here. You will be able to download an RDP file. This particular RDP will allow you to connect this virtual machine. So just open it up and click on connect. It will be asking you for the username and the password. So hope you remember the username and password defined over here. That was test user 1, and the password I have defined as, and click OK. It's asking you to share the certificates and install it so that you can access this particular remotely, this virtual machine. So I'll click yes. It is connecting to this virtual machine now, and you can see this is my virtual machine which is connected, and we got the virtual machines of your Windows Server 2008 R2. So once you have, maximized it, it is just like your Hyper-V station. It will be allowing you to get access to the complete operating system, work on it as you are using your physical virtual machine which you have installed into your Hyper-V server or your actual machines. So you won't see any difference what exactly we have into our physical infrastructure and this particular virtual machines which we have created on the cloud. So you can deploy your services, you can configure them as our servers, and as we have created an availability set, and sometimes automatically your server will be providing your 24/7 services as you are using it on the cloud. So with a zero downtime, the servers will be providing you all the services which you have configured on this particular machine. So as of now, this is our blank, unconfigured server. And once it is started, we will be able to configure everything you require, like your DHCP, DNS, and other services through using this particular server. So you can see this is started. We'll be able to see all the details of it. So I'm just going to check the host name. Okay. So this is the host name you have, that is Windows VM1, right? So the same name it will be providing you what exactly you define while creating your server. Just I'll increase the size so that you are able to see it well. You can see Windows VM1. If you check for the IP config, and you can see here you have an IP address of 10.0.0.4 and the gateway as 10.0.0.1. So everything you require for your server is available over here, right? So you have your 10.10's network as your private IP address, and you can connect to all the virtual machines which you have within them. And if you want to connect this virtual machine on your network or through your internet remotely, you need to get access by using this particular public IP address. So this is how we have seen how we can connect to our virtual machines which we have created using our portal. So this is your Windows machine, so we got it through your RDP and we have connected it. So into our next video, I'm coming up where we are going to create a new virtual machine using your CLI, and we'll also see how we can connect those using your CLI itself.